Hi, this is Fazana again. I hope you've watched parts 1 and 2 of this topic and are ready for part 3. Part 3 questions are higher level GCSEs, so I'm assuming you know the formulae pretty well. Let's go for it, my smart students. Tackling question 1. Okay, Jeremy wants to invest £3,000 into a savings account. So we've got compound interest 6% for the first 2 years. So that will be 0.06 for 2 years and 2% for each extra year. So that will be 0.02. Yeah, all right, for every extra year. Whereas AMC Bank gives compound interest of 8% for the first year. So that's 0.08. And then 1.5% for each extra year. So that will be 0.015. Okay, he's going to invest the money for 8 years. Which bank will give him the most money? So that is for the first 2 years, so that will be for 6 years. That's a total of 8. That's for 1 year, and that's for 7 years. Okay, all right. So in this, for the TQ Bank, you'd get A equals the principal amount times, now I'm assuming you don't want to write the 1 plus R, and you can easily write the 1.06 because that's 1 plus your R, yeah, squared, yeah, so that's for 2 years, and then it'll take that amount and then you invest it for 1.02 for 6 years. Okay, yeah. I don't go on my calculator yet. I calculate this one first, and then once you go on your calculator, can you see it's just a case of comparing? You don't have to think anymore. So over here we've got the £3,000, and then you've got 1.08, and that's just to the power of 1, but I'll write it because you can see, you can tell that it'll total 8 years, and then 1.015 to the power of 7, so 7 years. Yes, so 7 plus 1 is 8. Okay, and then I go on my calculator, and here I get 3796.07, and here I get 3595.90. Okay, and you can tell, let's just change the sign, yeah, so that is more than that, so we would go with TQ Bank if we were financial advisors for Jeremy. Yeah, all right, cool. Okay, again, do your calculations first and then go on your calculator, because after that you really don't have to think anymore. So it's not a case of saying, oh, and then, okay, and then I have to do that. Yeah, it just flows much smoother. Okay, next question. The size of the North Sea cod stock is estimated at that. Because of overfishing, it is decreasing at the rate of 11. So if you went 100% minus the 11%, you'd get 89. So we'll say the multiplier is 0.89. Okay, so I hope you're okay with multipliers. How many years will it be? So we have to find the n before it falls below the critical level of 70,000. Okay, so it started at 250,000, and we want to know how many years it'll be before it goes down to 70,000. Yeah, okay. So again, write your formula, and you can see because it's decreasing, it's the depreciation formula. So you've got A equals P times 1 minus R to the power of n. Yeah, sometimes just by writing the formula, it just gives you that sense of direction. Okay, so then we want it, but I'll write the A first because we want it less than the 70,000. Yeah. Okay, so it started at 250,000 times, and we've got the multiplier here, so if we did 1 minus 0.11, we'd get 0.89 to the power of n. Okay, if we were trying to solve it very much like an equation, yeah, we would divide by 250,000. So then you'd have 0.89 to the power of n is less than, and if you go 70,000 divided by 250,000, you'll get 0.28. So that's a much simpler way of playing around with trial and improvement on your calculator. Okay, so let's try n equals 8, and you get 0.39. So you've, on your calculator, of course, you've gone 0.89 to the power of 8. Yeah. If you try n equals 9, you get 0.35, so we can tell we haven't got down to less than 0.28. But if you go n equals 11, just leaving out the 10, you've got 0.2775. So you can see that 10 wasn't relevant because it wouldn't have gone to anything less than the 0.28, because that's as low as you can get. Yeah, okay. So you can tell it's 11 years, and then you say, oh, 0.2775 is less than 0.28. Yeah, so it would take 11 years. All right, good. Okay, next question. The value of a car depreciates by 22.5% per year, so the multiplier is 0.775. After how many years is the value of the car first less than 40% of its original value? So you can tell if we had the formula A equals P times 1 minus R to the power of n, and you want it to fall less than 40%, then if we write the A there, it's much easier. Yeah. Then if we started off with 100, then you know we're ending up with 40. Yeah. So we want a less than situation. Yeah. So times 0.775 to the power of n. Again, divide by 100. So you get 0.775 to the power of n is less than 0.4, which is less than 40% of its original value. Yeah, all right. If you went for n equals 3, you'd get 0.465, so it hasn't become less than. Whereas if you do n equals 4, you get 0.361, yeah, which is less than 0.4. Okay, so you've got 4 years. All right, good. Okay, next question. Deborah bought a house for 145,000. The value of the house depreciates by 4%. So then we know the multiplier will be the value of the house times 0.96. Yeah, so 100 minus the 4, then convert into a decimal. And that will be depreciates by 2.5. So the multiplier is 0.975. Okay, yeah. Ibra says 4 plus 2.5. So that 4 plus 2.5%. So in 2 years, the value of my house depreciates by 6.5%. Is he right? Well, obviously not. Because when you're finding the value of the house at the end of the first year, it'll be 4% less. But when you're trying to depreciate it by 2.5% in the second year, it's not taking 2.5% of the original 145, it's taking 2.5% off from the 96% that was valued at the end of the first year. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's give a reason. So we say, okay, and we can do it all in one go. So 145,000 times 0.96 is what it'll be the value in the first year, and then it'll be times 0.975 because we're taking off the 2.5%. So that will be the second year. Yeah, okay, and that will give you 135,720. And now if we find our percentage decrease, then the 145,000 minus the 135,720 divided by the original, which is the 145,000, will give you times 100, of course, to find the percentage, and that will give you 6.4%. All right, yeah. So you can tell it isn't 6.5%, it's 6.4%. There's an easier way of doing this. You can actually just keep the value of the house as 1, which is the whole amount, and then go times 0.96 times 0.975, yeah, and you get 0.936. And then if you go 1 minus the 0.936, because the 0.936 means the value of the house at the end of the second year is 93.6% in total. Yeah. So then if you go the 1 minus the 0.936 or 100 minus the 93.6, then you can tell you get the 6.4%. Okay, yeah, but otherwise stick to that original values if it feels more comfortable. All right. Okay, the value of your brass house increases by X% in the third year. All right then. At the end of the third year, the value is 140. Yeah, so this method seemed to be the best way because at least we've got the value at the end of the second year. Yeah, so we write 135,720 times, now it's increasing by X%, so then we'll go, it'll be 1 plus X, yeah, divided by to the power of 1, yeah, equals 140,000. Okay, again, this looks very much like 2x equals 4. So 2x equals 4. So we divide by that. So you get 1 plus x equals 1.0315. And then if you minus the 1 from both sides, you get x equals 0.0315. And as a percentage would be 3.15%. Okay, so x equals 3.15%. Yeah, all right, good. Okay, last question. Katie invests £2,000 in an account for 3 years. It pays 2.5% for the first year, so 0.025, x for the second year, and x for the third year. All right. There's a total amount of 2124 at the end of the 3 years. Work out the rate of interest in the second year. So find out what x is. Okay. All right. So the first year is easy. We'll do A equals 2,000 times 1 plus this 2.5%, which is 2050. Okay, now the second and third years, we've got 2050 times 1 plus x to the power of 2, because it's for 2 years, and you get the 2124.46. Okay, again, divide by the 2050, and you get 1 plus x squared equals that divided by that, which will give you 1.03632, and if you square root it, you get 1 plus x equals 1.017999, and if we round it, we'll just get 1.018, and you can tell that is 1 plus 0.018, and that decimal as a percentage is 1.8%. Okay, yeah, good. I hope these videos on compound interest and depreciation were useful and fun, and you're now really comfortable with working out any question on this topic. Keep practicing. Watch the videos again once more until it just digests, it sticks into your brain, and if you get an exam question, it'll take one of these forms and it'll be quite easy to calculate. Yeah, all right. Keep working hard. Remember, you're in control. Until next time, take care. Bye.